Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar video. This one is going to be my review, or at least a look at, the Avatar The Last Airbender hardcover ruled journal from Inside Edition. So if you've been following my channel, I covered when we got news on this, when it was first announced, when we got the cover reveal, the actual cover reveal and all that sort of stuff. And actually, the release date even snuck up on me. I haven't seen anyone talking about this. I just saw that, oh, it's actually out, ordered it, and here it is. There is also a Korra hardcover ruled journal that's also out. I only got the Avatar one, but here's an image of what the Korra one looks like. So yeah, you can get Avatar or Korra. I went with the Avatar one just because I think the Korra cover looks a little generic, like it's only Korra and Asami, but it's Korra and Asami from book 1, so I didn't even think it fit even for Korra Asami fans necessarily. But anyway, there's obviously not going to be too much to talk about because it is just a hardcover ruled journal, but it's this sort of merchandise that I think is the sort of stuff that we should have got when Korra was actually out. This is the sort of stuff that we just didn't get. Your journals, books, that sort of stuff. Now it's finally coming out, and of course it feels a bit ill-timed, but it is at least interesting. So as you can see here, it's sealed in plastic right now, but I will open it of course, and here's what it looks like packaged. So you can see hardcover ruled journal with pocket, 192 pages, and then archival paper. On the back, you see you got logo, and then you get your description and iconic art from the series. So that's going to be interesting. There's obviously a couple of pages that aren't just what you usually expect. The journal lies flat when open, 192 ruled pages, a ribbon placeholder, an elastic band, and a back pocket for storing keepsakes and mementos. And it's Inside Edition. So let's open this up. Okay, plastic off, there it is. As you can see, we've got our rubber band here. So we'll just open that up and we could take off this sleeve. Okay, it's on a bit. Okay, this is going to be a bit awkward to get off without just straight up opening it up. Okay, here. So you can see, this is just an insert that you get. So we'll just put that to the side. And here is the book open. It actually feels really nice. It is a pretty nicely put together hardcover. You can see the cover is actually fairly thick. It's got that sort of imitation sort of leather kind of feel. You can tell it's a bit more kind of plasticky than that, but it feels pretty good. So on the back you have your Avatar The Last Airbender logo, and it is sort of embossed into the page, and then the kind of white is kind of printed over it. Along the outside you have your typical sort of just Avatar sort of symbolism, and then in the corners you get the basic element symbols. I'm never a big fan of these. I prefer them to actually use the more detailed element symbols, but there's earth, here's fire, up here is air, and then on this corner you have water. So that's interesting. On the cover you get Katara. I don't think we were actually able to see Katara in the previous one because the thing covered her up almost completely. But you can see image of Katara, Sokka, and Aang. As far as I'm aware, these are all pretty much stock images. They're just kind of embossed onto it. And again, the same thing around the border. And then nothing on the spine. As I said, you have your elastic kind of band to keep it closed, which is pretty cool. The obvious thing on just the outside is, why on earth is it purple? Just, when designing this book, why did they decide to make it purple? What does purple have to do with Avatar? It doesn't really reflect any of the nations necessarily or anything like that. It's just a weird color that they decided to make the book. It just feels so unusual that they did this. But anyway, let's see what's actually inside. So, okay, opening it up, you get your typical map of the Avatar world. Most kind of ancillary media tends to do this for your inside cover. So that's pretty cool. Okay, you get property of, so you can write your name there, and an image of Aang. again, it's a pretty stock piece of image, nothing fancy there. Your pages are just fairly normal. It feels like fairly decent paper. You know, I don't really know what they necessarily mean by archival quality paper or anything like that, but you know, ruled pages, that's fine. Then on the very back you get an image of Momo, inside editions, all your licensing stuff. Back cover you have some cool, you know, shot of one of the air temples. It's pretty nice. And then you have this back pocket here, which, how does this work? Oh, there we go. So you can actually, what's the best way to show this? Yeah, lift it up like that and put stuff in it. So that's pretty cool. It sort of folds out, open. I don't want to push it too much. It's sort of fabricy there, so like I doubt you can do too much damage to it. But if you open it up too much, I think you could probably like rip it off the back cover. But that's pretty interesting, just to put some notes in, some letters or whatever like that you need in there. That's at least something. But yeah, that's really all there is to say here. Going off what the kind of insert that we got said. What did it say here? Featuring Aang, Katara, and Sokka, as well as iconic art from the series. I think it's a bit much to say that if it features iconic art. Like, okay, Aang, Katara, Sokka, yes, they're on the cover. So what is the remainder of this iconic art? Does it mean that? Is it just referring to like, oh, there's an image of Aang here. There's an image of Momo on the back, and then you get this image of one of the air temples. Like it says it has everything else, of course, and then I forgot as well. There is the kind of ribbon to keep your page as well. Let me just find the page it's on. Okay, so here, yeah, and you get your. Okay, so it's a kind of pink kind of color. Again, you know, it's purple, but then this is pink. It just kind of feels like, what are they doing? So, you know, it's a journal. What do you expect? It's got paper, it's got Avatar stuff on the outside. Ultimately, I'd say I'm not particularly impressed overall. Like, I don't think there's enough effort necessary that goes into it. It is a well-constructed journal. It's just the Avatar aspect of this, the Avatar theming of it, I don't think is all that great. Like, okay, this bit around the edge I think is quite nice. It feels a bit mishmash what they did in the middle. Just like, okay, there's like your three like main characters who start off Team Avatar, but like I think just the fact that it doesn't feature like the Avatar logo on the cover, even the fact that like in terms of the design stuff here, they go for the simple element symbols, it just doesn't work for me. Like this being on the back almost feels like, have this like here, like make these characters like smaller, maybe feature some of the other characters here, have a new piece of art or something like that. It's fine, like to have like a journal and it be Avatar themed if this is what you want, or if the Korra one is what you want. I suppose you now get an impression for what the Korra one is going to be. You're going to have Korra and Asami on the front, Korra logo on the back, maybe a slightly different theming on this around the edge. You're probably going to get the maybe they'll have an updated map that includes like Republic City. This will probably have a picture of Korra in the Avatar state here. You'll probably feature like Pabu maybe in place of Momo here. Maybe some other air temple or something like that here. You probably still get the pocket, but like it just feels like, you know, I know Inside Editions put these out for everything. This is like the most of what their products are that they put out. It just feels like a little bit more could have been done to make this interesting. Like, again, I come back to like, why is it purple? In terms of size, here it is next to a individual part of one of the comics. So this is Imbalance Part 2. You can see here it is just a little bit shorter than an individual part here on both widths. So you can see an individual part of a comic is just a bit bigger overall than this book, both in terms of height and width. Of course, it's much thicker. Like I said, it's 192 pages of journal. So it's one of those things where if you can get around the fact that it's purple for some reason, the character selection isn't great. Like, it's at least something. If you like Korra Sami, then get the Korra one. I'm actually glad now that I really didn't get that Korra one. This one at least has some sort of a like humor factor to it, just because like it's purple for some reason. Like, what were they thinking? Like, go for orange for like Avatar or something like that. That would fit a little bit better. Maybe it would have gotten in the way of their, you know, wanting to do this kind of white and purple effect, but you know, something else to make it a little bit different. And I've seen in some of their other journals, actually, they do a little bit more. Like, I think in some of them what they've done is like, they've actually had like the characters write stuff on like the first couple of pages. Like, it's just printed onto the first couple of pages, but it makes it feel like there's a little bit more to it. This just feels like it was just, oh, they have the Avatar license, let's just, you know, throw something together. Doesn't speak very highly of them, especially when like Avatar Legacy, the book that they did before, at least had some new information but wasn't great. Legend of Korra, Avatar's Chronicle is coming out in a couple of months. I don't have a lot of high hopes for that. Then there's the Fire Nation one that's meant to be about Iroh. It looks a little bit better, but like how high can your hopes be? And then there is also, on this same style, their Inside Editions are putting out 2 notebooks. So they're not hardcover. They're just 2 notebooks. One's Avatar, one's Korra. It's a double pack. I think that's out in August. I'll probably get that because I think those look much better than the 2 journals. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the journals. I think, you know, it's one of those items that like it was just going to come and go and no one was going to talk about it. So I felt, why don't I just grab one of these while it's right out and, you know, it's pretty close to the release date, at least get some opinion out there in terms of what this book is actually about. So in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are on this journal. What did you expect, I suppose, prior to seeing it versus what it actually is, and are you at all interested in this after having seen it? But that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye. Purple.